It's very easy to speak truth from this podium when you have a president who is implementing policies that are wildly popular with the American people, and that's exactly what this administration is doing. It's correcting the lies and the wrongs of the past 4 years, many of the lies that have been told to your faces in this very briefing room. I will not do that.
This time there's no going back. During a recent episode of The View, Joy Behar shocked viewers with a statement that many are characterizing as inappropriate and contradictory.
For illegal DEI programs. It means no more funding for transgenderism and wokeness.
And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you, because without that wokeness, you might not.
Today was the first press conference for Donald Trump's press secretary, Karoline Leavitt. And if you assume she was a pretty white lady with a noticeable cross necklace, you were right. And of course she was Trump's press secretary during the campaign, but that was all about trashing Joe Biden. Now she's in an elevated position representing the White House. And she's here to talk about what the administration is going to do moving forward.
When Joe Biden was in the Oval Office, or upstairs in the residence sleeping, I'm not so sure.
Oh, shit!
To the values she claims to support. Behar, referring to Donald Trump's 27-year-old press secretary, Karoline Leavitt, suggested that her appearance was the primary reason for her selection. She stated, "She was probably included because Donald Trump believes she is a 10. People across the political spectrum, not just conservatives, immediately criticized the remark, viewing it as dismissive and hypocritical. Why? Because it came from someone who frequently speaks about feminism and the importance of women holding leadership positions." Behar's comments were seen as disrespectful, not only to Leavitt, but also to any woman who has worked hard to achieve success in politics, business, or any other industry, which made sense to her. Women were quick to highlight the inconsistency in her stand. How can someone who claims to support women's empowerment undermine a political strategist's accomplishments based solely on her appearance? One social media user summed up the backlash perfectly. Joy Behar accuses Karoline Leavitt of being hired only for her looks. Isn't this the kind of rhetoric that The View claims to oppose? However, Karoline Leavitt was not about to ignore it. Her response went beyond self-defense. She exposed the hypocrisy of The View and turned the narrative upside down. Many expected Leavitt to either brush off Joy Behar's remark or respond calmly. Instead, she delivered a sharp, fact-based rebuttal that left no room for doubt. Leavitt didn't just respond to the remark with confidence, poise, and undeniable facts. She dismantled the argument entirely. In doing so, she sent a clear message.
Trump in saying that he is sowing division in this country. He is not. The media is for pushing hoaxes like the one that you all pushed today, and the Democrat Party is for pushing lies about him. But the good news is Americans don't buy it.
Of the 3,500 arrests ICE has made so far since President Trump came back into office, can you just tell us the numbers? How many have a criminal record versus those who are just in the country illegally?
All of them, because they illegally broke our nation's laws, and therefore they are criminals as far as this administration goes. I know the last administration didn't see it that way, so it's a big culture shift in our nation to view someone who breaks our immigration laws as a criminal, but that's exactly what they are.
Women in politics should not be judged solely on their appearance, regardless of their personal beliefs. Furthermore, a platform cannot claim to support women while simultaneously undermining them. Leavitt then shifted the discussion to a broader and more critical issue: how Democrats have long portrayed President Trump as a threat to democracy. Instead of solely defending Trump, she highlighted how media exaggeration has fueled anti-conservative sentiment and even contributed to 2 attempts on Trump's life. Rather than simply setting the record straight, her response directly challenged the narrative pushed by the show. She revealed how the program often resorts to personal attacks rather than addressing pressing national issues. By the time she finished speaking, the atmosphere in the room had changed dramatically. Behar appeared uncomfortable, and even Whoopi Goldberg looked taken aback. As tensions rose, Goldberg attempted to steer the conversation away. She made an unsuccessful effort to change the subject, but Leavitt stood firm.
7 weeks this past year, and the Democrats were hoping he would go to jail for it. That is real political that has led to 2 heinous attempts on President Trump's life that, by the grace of God, he was able to escape, and he is here with us today. So yes, President Trump knows a little bit about political because he's experienced it himself.
And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you, because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah.
Because women were not invited to that table. Mm-hmm. Women were not invited to many tables in this nation. The reason we fought and busted our behinds to make sure that you didn't have to worry about this. And now to hear you talk about it and to hear anybody talk about the wokeness was put in place for a reason, because black people couldn't get it.
Please don't, she firmly interjected. Let's not get sidetracked. She continued to emphasize how ongoing accusations against Trump have emboldened extremists and led to real-world consequences. In that moment, it became clear Leavitt had effectively turned the tables. This was more than just a disagreement. It was about exposing how media personalities manipulate discussions to fit their own agendas. Leavitt's refusal to let Whoopi Goldberg change the subject was both strategic and effective. She stood her ground, ensuring the conversation stayed on track. Instead of silencing her, Goldberg's attempt only strengthened Leavitt's case. Hunt's viewers took notice. Social media erupted with praise, calling it one of the most impactful moments in recent political debates. But Leavitt wasn't done exposing the hypocrisy of The View. She didn't just defend herself, she also highlighted the show's biased approach to women's empowerment. One of her most striking statements was about The View's contradictory stance. They love talking about women's empowerment, but when a woman disagrees with their ideas, they discredit her in the same way they claim to oppose, she said. This was no offhand remark. Leavitt directly challenged The View's long-standing pattern of dismissing conservative women like Kayleigh McEnany and Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Her criticism led many to question whether The View genuinely supports women or only those who share its political ideology. Then came Whoopi Goldberg's remarks on wokeness. In an attempt to regain control of the discussion, she declared, "There won't be any wokeness here," referencing Leavitt's earlier statements. Clearly frustrated, Goldberg launched into a speech about how wokeness drives social progress. However, she failed to acknowledge concerns about how wokeness has, at times, become divisive rather than unifying. Rather than engaging in a meaningful discussion on what it means to be woke today, Goldberg dismissed Leavitt, treating her as if she were uninformed about social progress and history. The irony? By doing so, she demonstrated why wokeness is often criticized. It can come across as elitist and dismissive. But this was more than just a heated exchange. Criticism of The View continued to build. Instead of discrediting Leavitt, the show ended up damaging its own credibility. Clips of Joy Behar's remark and Leavitt's firm response went viral almost instantly. Viewers from all political backgrounds slammed The View for its apparent hypocrisy. Even Leavitt's political opponents acknowledged that Behar's comment was inappropriate and that Leavitt handled the situation with composure. The backlash extended beyond social media and made its way into mainstream news coverage. Multiple outlets reported on The View's latest controversy and the growing concerns over its credibility. Behind the scenes at ABC, the reaction reportedly caught executives off guard. Insiders claim network management is growing increasingly frustrated with Joy Behar's repeated controversies. Several reports suggest that Behar's position on the show may be in jeopardy. The View has long thrived on controversy, but there is a difference between sparking debate and alienating viewers. This time, they may have crossed the line. However, this episode points to a larger issue within today's media landscape. It's not just about one incident. It reflects shifting perspectives and a growing demand for accountability. What stood out most was the overwhelming support Leavitt received, even from those who disagreed with her politically. Many social media users, including liberals, acknowledged that Behar's remarks were dismissive not only to Leavitt, but to all women who have worked hard to succeed. As one commentator put it, you don't have to agree with Karoline Leavitt to recognize that it's wrong to reduce her accomplishments to her appearance. This wasn't just a victory for Leavitt. It was also a warning sign for media outlets that viewers are tired of biased narratives. As public support for Leavitt grew, ABC executives reportedly scrambled behind the scenes. According to insiders, they were unprepared for the backlash and are increasingly frustrated with Behar's ongoing controversies. One source suggested that management is beginning to question whether keeping Behar on the show is worth the continued public relations challenges. The View's brand has long been associated with controversy, but igniting debate and alienating viewers are two different things. And this time, they may have gone too far. Such incidents only worsen the show's already declining ratings. Reports suggest that advertisers are beginning to question whether The View is still a reliable platform for their brands. A source claims that network executives are growing tired of handling repeated controversies and are now discussing whether a major revamp is necessary. Does this mean Joy Behar may no longer appear on The View? While her future remains uncertain, this issue extends beyond a single host. The controversy highlights a recurring pattern in the media's treatment of conservative women. Figures like Kayleigh McEnany and Sarah Huckabee Sanders have often been dismissed, criticized, or discredited solely for their views. Programs like The View claim to champion women's empowerment, yet they seem unwilling to extend that support to women who hold differing political opinions. Instead of engaging in constructive debates, they resort to personal attacks and dismissive remarks. This double standard doesn't just affect individuals. It undermines the very principles of equality and feminism that such platforms claim to uphold. The strong reaction from viewers suggests that people are paying attention and beginning to recognize this bias. Karoline Leavitt not only defended herself, but also turned the discussion into a broader debate about fairness in the media. Will public demand for accountability and ABC's efforts to contain the backlash lead to meaningful change, or will The View continue down this path? While the show's long-term reputation remains uncertain, one thing is clear. Karoline Leavitt emerged from this controversy stronger than ever. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more updates. Share your thoughts in the comments below.